Welcome to the introductory video on Jupyter Notebook. Throughout our course, we will use the Jupyter Notebook to write and execute our code. We see how to install Jupyter in VSCode and take a short tour of Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebook is open source and is basically a document. The craze for writing and executing code in notebooks is because of its support to write code, explanatory text, and store the output and visualizations all in the same document. Installing Jupyter in VS Code is straightforward using the pip command in the VS Code terminal. As shown here, after installation, we can open the notebook using the command python-m notebook. The notebook is based on a client-server structure, and by default, the notebook server runs locally at 127.0.0.1 and at the port 88888, and they are accessible only from the local host. Jupyter notebooks are simply documents, but to run the Python code in it, we need a runtime environment, and this runtime environment is called the kernel. Installing Jupyter Notebook in VS Code is straightforward. You just need to give the pip install Jupyter command. And if you do not have the administrator rights, you can also give it along with --user. Once it is installed, opening it is using the command python-m notebook. This opens a Jupyter folder, and it is at the local host. If you look at the folder that is being opened, in VS Code, we have opened notebook from the folder D drive Python code Python_beginning. And so the folder that is opened here is also the same folder. Here, let me now create a new Python file. This opens a notebook. A notebook is composed of many cells. There are 4 types of cells. Right now, we will deal with the code and markdown. If I want to give a text data, let's say I'm saying that this is to explain Jupyter. I make it as a markdown cell, and then I say explain Jupyter. And then I can run it. If you remember, I gave it along with a hash. Hash says that it is a heading, and it is heading 1, the biggest heading you can get. You can also run it using the keyboard, using Control-Enter. There is also another option to run it, which is using Shift-Enter. If you give Shift-Enter, it runs the current cell and creates a new cell. By default, all the cells are code cells. Now in this, I can write a simple Python statement. Let's say print hi, and then let's say I type Shift-Enter. As I said, the output is now on the screen, and also the new cell is also created. Some of the other options that we will be using quite frequently are in cell. I can write multiple lines of code in multiple cells. And so in each cell, if I want to run it separately, we can simply give the run command. If I want to run all the cells in a notebook, I give run all. And if I want to run all the cells above a given cell, I give run all above. And if I want to run all the cells below a given cell, then I give run all below. Let's look at all this with an example. Let's say I say print hello world, and let me create a new cell. To create a new cell, you can also give the plus command, and then let's say print testing. I can be at any cell and say run all, or if you want to run all the cells above this, then you give, let me just to note the difference, let's give it this way. If you want to run all the cells above the given cell, currently I'm at this cell. So when we give run all above, it runs the cells above the given cell. And if I want to run all the cells below a given cell, I give run all below. Run all below, it will execute the current cell and the cells below it. I can save a file using the save command. I can save the notebook as the file, let's say print, and then I can rename it. All Jupyter Notebook files are created with an extension IPYNB. If you want to cut a cell, I can cut the cell. And of course, as usual, you also have cut cells, copy cells, and the other options. Congratulations, you have now written your first code in Python using a Jupyter Notebook.